continuing with layers, what you'll see is that each of its layers has its own properties, which I'm going to show you now. So if I select the first layer, and you can see this layer like so in my first in my composition window, and what I'm going to do is I'll actually switch the eye icon off that layer, and I'm just going to click this object here, the solo object, and if I click that, you can see that basically what this does is it hides everything else and it only makes that visible. That's quite a cool and nifty trick if we want to actually just view that content on its own. So we can do that, and it basically hides everything else inside your composition, so that's quite cool. Another cool feature is the lock tab. So sometimes, especially when we're in the 3D mode inside After Effects, you'll see the layers become quite confusing and can become a bit tricky, especially when objects are concealed over a number of other objects inside the layers. So what we can do is we can basically click the lock icon, and this basically locks that icon for us to in order for us not to manipulate it. So let's have a look at this. I'm going to basically switch the icon of the first layer, and I'm going to select that layer, it's layer 2, and I'm going to basically click the lock, and you can see I can't actually select this layer, it's actually selecting the layer underneath. So that's one of the cool ways of and an advantage of using layers, by locking the tab. And another quick trick is what we can do is we've got labels up here. If we select the tag, and what we can do, if we select the layer underneath, which is basically the swatch here for the tag, we can basically color coordinate our own tags. So we may want to do this. We may want to have red for all 3D objects, or all null objects, or camera paths. So we can actually do that and set up different color coordination around basic layers by selecting this tab here. Now each layer inside After Effects has its own properties. So if we select one of them, you can see we've got the ability to transform. We've got the transform function, and then if we select the transform option open, you can see we have a number of different options, and these we can all animate. That's the whole idea. So we've got a lot of control over all these parameters. We've got anchor point, position, scale, rotation, and opacity, and I'll show you in the next up and coming videos on how to manipulate using these simple parameters for that layer. And what we've also got is the audio tab as well, and I'll come back to the audio tab. This sequence has no audio inside here, but I'll come back to audio, and we'll probably make another set just devoted to audio inside After Effects as well. So if we continue going on here, we've basically can view and toggle between different modes. That will be a draft setting, and that will be a nicer, smoother setting highlighted by the pixels. So it's basically to do with the quality, the draft, or the best. We can set this at a number of other options inside After Effects. However, this is only to preview. Again, it has no bearing on your rendering of your video. We've also got a few other features here which I'll come back to. Stuff to do with motion blur, and there's a really cool one for 3D. So basically, if you switch that, enables you to edit your layers inside 3D mode. Again, we'll come back to some of these properties. You'll see me using them, and you have more of an understanding when you see me actually using them and going through each of those properties to do with layers.